It is time for us to wander the world on Lunch with Pippa Hudson, and this feature is brought to you by Standard Bank Travel. Book your next trip on the Standard Bank app and get up to 40% off your flights. Standard Bank is an authorised FSP and registered credit provider. Now, we are casting our travel sights much further afield today because we're doing some travel to Southeast Asia to explore Vietnam. And our tour guide is going to be a very familiar voice to you if you're a long-time CapeTalk listener, because Martin Myers hosts the Business of Entertainment segment on Thursday evenings. But today I've asked him to come in and talk to us about his recent trip to Vietnam and to share some insights on what it is like as a destination for South Africans to visit. If you too have had the opportunity to visit this country, we would love for you to join the conversation. Tell us when you went, where you went, what you saw, what you ate, because I know that's a big part of the Vietnamese experience. What were your favorite moments? What advice would you share? Pop us a WhatsApp voice note or text to 072-567-1567. Martin, you were gone so long and you were clearly having so much fun. I was worried you were ever going to come back, but glad to have you back with us.
Thank you. My wife and I were almost in tears when we left. We left South Africa on the 15th of December and came back on the 23rd of January.
Wow.
We were going to come back on the 10th, and my wife said to me, "Yeah, but Baba, your birthday's on the 20th of January. Why don't we just add in Halong Bay?" So we added in Halong Bay, and then we left after that. But we started right down in the south. If I could give you the backstory, because I think it's really nice. And you went to Bali last year, and I remember we talked about it, and that you said never again. And we were having lunch with a friend of mine, JP Wilson. And we were talking about our 15th wedding anniversary. And no, we're going to go to Bali. And he looked at us like, "Are you guys out of your mind? Why don't you go to Phu Quoc?" So we said, "What the heck is Phu Quoc?" No. Brett lives in Vietnam. You must go see him. It's just an island off Ho Chi Minh. Or as he says, HCMI. So I said, "What?" So Razia gets home and starts looking. Phu Quoc. 2,000 Rand a night, 800 Rand a night. Hang on, we are going to Phu Quoc. Baba, go get a book. So off I went to get the Lonely Planet guide. And this is the way we did it.
Yeah,
there was no travel
totally
agent involved or anything. Totally self-planned. JP said, go to Phu Quoc. It's Mauritius on steroids. When you go to Mauritius, you've got to go for 7 days, and it's full board, and it's half this and half that. It's very complicated and convoluted. No, in Phu Quoc, you can stay one day in one resort, then another day in another resort. And the beauty is you've got to check out by 12 noon, and you can check into the other resort at 2 p.m.
Fantastic.
Which is invariably they're ready at 1:30. So you just move from resort to resort. And we did the entire island. It's a long string bean, and it's off the chart. You need the Lonely Planet guide. You use booking.com, the app. Then when you're on the app, make sure where you're booking, you look at the map to see where this place is located. Read all the reviews.
Okay.
Not just the top 5, the good ones and the bad ones. And it took Razia 6 weeks of planning. Every night she would spend time. I would look in the book. So what about this place? What about that place? Okay, let's see what it says. And so we went. I mean, we arrived in Ho Chi Minh. We had one night there at a hotel called the Alagon Hotel. It's in Zone 1. If you go to Ho Chi Minh, you've got to stay either in Zone 1 or Zone 3.
Okay.
Don't stay anywhere else. There's everything there to give you an understanding of the size of the country. It's 100 million people. There's 77 million motorbikes.
Okay, and 100 million people and 77 million motorbikes squeezed into a space that is, I think, a quarter of the size of South Africa. That'll give you an idea of the congestion that brings. I mean, so it's literally, I'm just trying to do the maths here, that's double our population in quarter of the space. Not counting the motorbikes. Okay, so that is some food for thought there, Martin. I mean, obviously the congestion like that, I'm assuming, is going to be worse in the urban areas.
Crossing the road, you take your life in your hands. You just see these motorbikes descending towards you. You walk, you stick your left hand out, and you just keep walking. Don't stop, because otherwise you're dead meat. You know, you're going to get run over. But we never saw an accident. We never saw anybody hooting. We never saw any people who were inebriated. It's a massive, massive coffee culture. Mm-hmm. Second biggest coffee exporter on the planet.
Really?
Biggest Nike manufacturer, even bigger than Nike America.
Sure.
So you get the most wonderful, they don't call it fakes, they call inspired by.
Okay.
You can see the Louis Vuitton store in Ho Chi Minh City. To give you a size, it's the size of Constantia Village Woolworths. probably bigger than that.
Phew.
Half a K down the road is the market, which is absolutely unbelievable. Probably be the size of the Grand Parade, where you can get everything, and you realize you're not a sports star until you've got a fake up on the wall.
Oh my gosh.
Shirts, T-shirts, whatever you want. My suggestion is go with an empty suitcase. Just go with the clothes you're wearing. I wore jeans when I left, and I wore jeans when I left Vietnam, and the rest of the time I was in shorts.
So that brings us to talking about the weather and the climate. Because, Martin, I know it's a country, although it might be comparatively small to us, used to the space of South Africa. There's a lot of variety, I know, from coastal level to high in the mountains, from north to south, etc., in terms of temperatures and seasonality. You were there, though, over the dry season.
We were there
in December, January.
We looked at the weather. When we left Hanoi, it was 16 degrees Celsius and it was freezing. And then you can go further north up towards the Chinese border to a place called Sapnap, and that's where it even snows in January and February.
Sure.
We started right down in the very south, Ho Chi Minh, which is time-wise 5 hours ahead of South Africa, so it's early evening now in Ho Chi Minh. Temperature always 32, 33 degrees. Weather like this. Not the rainy season, and no humidity, thank heavens.
Okay.
In summer, it can get up to 45 degrees with humidity of 60 to 70%, maybe more. Air conditions work. The Wi-Fi works. The Grab app works. But you've got to be adventurous. It's not for everybody. If you want to go and lie on the beach and just not move, then go to an island, go to the Seychelles, go to Zanzibar, go to Mauritius. But if you want to experience a different culture, and remember where that country has come from. Now, 50 years of war.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask if you had an opportunity to explore any of the war-related sites, Martin, because I know it's possible to go into the tunnels, the Viet Cong.
Tunnels.
Yes, you went there? Yep.
Done it.
What was that like?
Tunnels. The biggest tip I can give anybody doing the Coochie tunnels is make sure you get the Go app. And then it's called 12 Go, 1-2 Go Asia. Okay. And look at the trips that are on there and do the speedboat trip up the Saigon River to the Coochie tunnels. This is what Brett, my friend who lives in Vietnam, said to me, Mart, you have to do the speedboat. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's about an hour and a half up the Saigon River. You get there, and then you go into the Coochie tunnels, and you see how they lived, what they did. It's 200 kilometers of tunnels. Our guide was a young gentleman, aged about 25. So I said to him, don't you hate America for what they did? And he looked at me, he says, both my parents were VC, Viet Cong. They fought in these tunnels, which are 200 kilometers long. It was feeding into Saigon from the north. They're still alive today. No, we don't hate America. We've got to look forward. I just looked at that and I went, my heavens.
Martin, you're the second person I've heard remark on that in the last 2 days. I happened to just stumble upon a random travel show on TV last night, and I can't even remember what channel it was on or what it was called. But I heard somebody make the same comment that for a country with the painful history, and it's not just the American War, it's the French colonial period before that, etc., that the country is remarkably low on bitterness and regret, that it is very much focused on where we are going from here.
There's a resilience, there's a work ethic that is absolutely unbelievable. If you see, and I've got pictures up on Facebook and I'm happy to share, what they have built and what other countries have destroyed in that time, it's earth-shattering. We never, ever felt vulnerable whatsoever. We look differently. We speak differently. We are taller than them. Never, ever. They just want to help. They just want to help tourists. They understand. You can look at it. We're either a mosquito or a flea on the global map. They've got people flying in by the bucketful from Canada. Because I spoke to the Canadians and said, what do you want to be there for in January? It's minus 20. Yesterday was minus 30. From South Korea, from Hong Kong, from Japan, from India, from New Zealand, from Australia, from Malaysia, from Singapore. Singapore to Hanoi is only a 3-hour flight, so people come in for the weekends and that.
Amazing.
There's this whole subcontinent that sits there bursting, and the rand goes far.
So we're
I'm
going
gonna
to
give
talk
you real
about some
prices.
actual examples here. I just want to say for anybody who's coming in halfway through this conversation, you obviously hopefully will recognize the voice of Martin Myers, our colleague from the Business of Entertainment. Martin's chatting to us about his incredible experience, 6 weeks in Vietnam over December and January, an entirely self-planned, self-organized, self-booked tour that he and his wife did together, and which took them all over the country, from south to north to the beach areas and more. Now let's talk about the cost of things. So, the local currency, the Vietnamese dong, I had a look this morning. It's 1 rand is 1,500 dong at today's exchange rate. That means nothing unless you put it into some context. So what do you get for your dong? Tell us what things cost, Martin.
Well, I bought a... Let me give you a hotel in rands. The Silverland Jolie Hotel. If you know where the CapeTalk studios are, opposite is Gallows Hill, the Cape Town Traffic Office. Mm-hmm. That's where the Saigon River was. This was a 5-star hotel in District 1. Mm-hmm. Bear in mind the date, 29th to the 1st of January. We left on the 1st of January to go down to the Mekong Delta.
So over New Year's Eve,
Over New Year's Eve.
Peak season, yeah?
Bed, breakfast, and free tea every day. It was like the Mount Nelson. Mm-hmm. 8,500 rand.
For 3 nights for 2 of you?
Yes.
Which is what you would pay for one person for 1 night,
yes,
in any Cape Town hotel.
We watched the fireworks, which was 15 minutes from our hotel room. The Vanda Hotel in Da Nang, right opposite the Dragon, which spits fire at 9 o'clock at night. From the 10th to the 12th of January, these are 5-star properties, 2,415 rand and 56 cents. The Han River Cruise that night to go and see the Spitting Dragon, 227 rand.
For both of you?
Yes, these are for both of us, Razia and myself.
Sure.
She did all the booking, she did all the work. The Aligon Hotel, when we arrived on the 16th, 1,700 rand for the night, bed and breakfast. The Gold Coast Resort in Phu Quoc, the island, right in the north, where you need to go and stay there, because then what you do the following morning, you get the taxi and you book him for the day and you drive to the Starfish Beach and you swim with starfishes. That was 1,652 rand and 88 cents. These are all better. These are all for 2 people.
I mean, so the rand goes a long way, is what you're saying, which is not something we get to say very often anywhere in the world. And do you carry local currency, or do you need to have dollars on you as well?
At the Oligon Hotel, Silverland Jolie Hotel, I had $100, the new notes, and I wanted to change. And they said, no, why don't you go and change some more? Just down the road, take your $500, and you walk in and you walk into a currency exchange, and they just give you notes. It's all in Vietnamese dong, are all notes. There's no coins.
Okay.
And they just dish them out. There's no paperwork. There's no nonsense. There's no bureaucracy. And they give you a pile of cash. You put it in your pocket and you walk out.
And you don't worry about getting robbed on the way home.
No one bothers you.
Amazing. Martin, Keith asked you about communication. Let's talk. Firstly, this is a country that has been occupied and colonized by a variety of countries over its history, including China, France.
The Portuguese brought Christianity there.
Okay.
Then it was the French. They call the French the colonialists and the Americans the imperialists.
Okay.
That's the way the kids look at
it. French and English at all on the streets, or is it mainly Vietnamese?
The older people, it's all Vietnamese. The young kids, 25, the tour guides and working around, they will speak a little bit of English. So you load Google Translate on your phone and you communicate through your phone. You buy the app at the airport. It cost us, I think it cost Razia $15 when we arrived, and this lasted us for a month. At all the hotels, all the restaurants, they've got Wi-Fi. I never ever switched over to the local SIM. I used to use the Wi-Fi wherever we walked in. It's incredibly safe. It's incredibly eye-opening. If you asked me, how would you describe the country? It was one of wonder and awe. Every corner we walked around, I'm like, oh my heavens, what is this? Where is this? I mean, on the one Sunday at the hotel we were staying at, no, you can hire a motorbike. How much is that? No, 150 rand. I said, for how long? No, the whole day.
Sure.
I hired it for the whole day. Rossi and I are learning how to ride motorbikes and drive around. You've got to go to certain places. You've got to go to Hoi An. You've got to go to a place called the Bana Hills. That's the famous picture with those hands the bridge with the hands.
Resting on the hand statue,
Let's just put it this way. I was also told by JP and his mom, Sharon, enjoy Bana Hills. That's all we were told. you get to the top, it's like Euro Disney. What they have built and created on top of this roof, on this mountain, and bear in mind there's sort of 44 cable cars an hour going up.
Sure.
So it's mass tourism on a mass scale, but there's beauty within the madness. And if you can deal with it, that's fine. At the one bus stop leaving from Halong Bay to Hanoi, all the buses seem to stop there. I counted 20 buses, not 10-seaters. 48
Huge
seaters.
ones, yeah.
And people were given dog tags with the bus registration so you knew which one to get on because they're all black.
They all look the same.
They all look the same. So that's what you've got to deal with. But there is an inordinate amount of beauty and wonder in that country. I urge every South African, before you leave this planet, go. Don't look at when you're there and you come back, then look at the Vietnam, the history, the war. Let me give you an idea. Full Metal Jacket, the movie. We went to Hoi. It's the ancient citadel going back to 1500. That Battle of Hoi was part of the Tet Offensive in the war. Mm-hmm. They talk about it. And we got home that evening and there was a documentary on Apple TV. And I said to Razia, let's just watch it. Oh, episode 2 was on the city of Hoi.
Yeah.
We'd just been there to the citadel and you watch this and you look, my heavens, they've rebuilt this thing completely. And there's this perfume river that's there and wonderful French restaurants and everything else. And you look, my heavens. And you sort of look at yourself and go, and no animosity. Just looking forward.
Martin, we mentioned it at the start, but I want us to dive a little bit deeper into the issue of the food, because the one thing I hear consistently from anybody who's been to Vietnam is they come back and say it was the most delicious trip we ever took. The food was amazing. And you mentioned it as well in our pre-conversation. You've already touched on the coffee culture, but this is not sort of your typical Western cup of coffee or latte. Tell us a little bit more about some of the unusual coffees that you tasted, and then we'll talk about the actual food.
Everything comes hot or it comes cold. So you get egg coffee that's made with egg. You get salt coffee that has salt in it. You get coconut coffee. You get iced coffee with condensed milk. And you get yogurt coffee. And they add condensed milk to all the coffees. Then you also get weasel coffee. The animal, the weasel, they make coffee using the weasel. It's very, very cruel, so people are trying to stop that, but you still see it in the shops. You can buy weasel coffee. It's sort of more expensive than any of the other coffees. The food is unbelievable. There's banh mi, which is a French baguette with fillings. Then there's the fresh spring rolls that you get, Vietnamese spring rolls, which is wrapped with peanut sauce and everything. And then the big one is pho, P-H-O. It's a beef broth with noodles and spices and everything else that you eat with your chopsticks and that. At all the hotels, it's quite funny. They say, Western food. And then you have your steamed rice and shrimp and whatever else you want. And the Vietnamese eat everything. If there's a shrimp there, they eat the whole thing, head and everything, whereas we will only eat the tail and that. I would say avoid street food.
Oh, come on.
You might get sick. I got sick for 2 days, but you take your tablets and off you go. You can also, when you're doing your research, consider a homestay where you stay at someone's house and home near the area where you want to go. But again, use booking.com. Use that map there to see where you want to go. And then the Grab app is essential. It works really, really well. So much so that when you arrive in Ho Chi Minh and you want to go and get your cab, there's a Grab man standing there who will explain, and then you see your car arrive and you get in and off you go. It's better than Uber. It was the app that was developed in Malaysia, and it is absolutely essential. Grab app, Google Translate, change your SIM, and off you go, and carry cash.
And you said an eSIM was fine. Yeah. Okay. So just going back to the food, somebody's just asked, saying that the spring rolls are to die for. The email, Martin, when you say fresh spring rolls, it's not the deep fried crunchy one that you're used to getting in a Chinese restaurant. It's a fresh rice paper wrapping around
thin.
It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever tasted. And the first time I ever tasted it was at Saigon Restaurant in Cliff Road or wherever it is in Gardens. And, I'd ordered spring rolls and this plate arrived and I was like, well, this isn't what I was expecting. One of the most delicious things I've ever eaten in my life. So did you just binge on those day in and day out?
And then there was beef this, and you try that, and then you try this. We saw 1 Kentucky Fried Chicken, and 1 McDonald's. They both had lanterns outside them in Hoi An. So we went in for a laugh just to go and order some chicken. Oh, no, Kentucky had Korean chicken. Oh, no, let's try the Korean chicken.
Okay.
But no fast food. Very little. Mango lassies and mango smoothies. Yum. I used to have those morning, noon, and night with ice, and they make them, and fresh fruit. The produce is really, really amazing. I cannot emphasize it more that for rand and for value, but you've got to be prepared to experience things. I mean, when we were flying from Da Nang, which is in the Delta, to not from Da Nang, sorry, from the Mekong Delta up to Da Nang, the plane was delayed.
Yeah.
So it was a 3-hour bus trip back to Ho Chi Minh.
Which can
and
happen
then from
anywhere.
Ho Chi Minh, the flight to Da Nang, and we got to the place where we were staying at 3 a.m. But you're on holiday, so there's no crisis. Everybody's in the same boat.
Part of the experience.
Part of the experience.
Have you really travelled if you've not had the experience of having a flight delay or missing the bus in Paris, as I did, and almost missing your flight? We've got a voice note in from one of our listeners who's also, I think, travelled there. Let's take a quick listen to what he has to say.
I'm absolutely loving this discussion about Vietnam. I was fortunate enough last year, my partner and I, to go to Vietnam. She absolutely loved the shopping and the food, and I have to concur, the food was just special. It is absolutely amazing food. Lots of French-inspired things like the banh mi. It's basically a mini croissant, but with their version of things in it. The food is off the charts. We're definitely going back.
Evan, thanks for that.
I concur. Yay.
It's gone straight to the top of my bucket list listening to all of this. Keith asking a very important question. We haven't spoken about getting there, and Keith wants to know, do you need a visa as a South African?
You absolutely need a visa, and print it out before you go. When you get there, you'll understand if you're flying into either Ho Chi Minh / Saigon or to Hanoi, it will make Cape Town International Airport look like Uppington. It's done.
Really?
Yeah. There will be police there, thin and slim, and take no SH1T, that I can tell you. I'm lucky I've got a metal pin in my leg. So I pointed and I said, no, can I go where the wheelchairs were? And they said, yes, you go. Otherwise, you can do on one of the apps, you can do what's called Fast Track, which you pay 10 or 12 US, and then someone will pick you up, collect you, and guide you through this maze of people. And I'm talking thousands of people. Vietnam, in my opinion, and JP's opinion, and Brett, this friend of ours who went for 6 months and has now lived there for 10 years, said it's on the cusp of the rest of the world suddenly finding out about this country and everybody descending on it en masse. So go. You can fly either via the sandpit, but not today. So now you would fly via Singapore, and then you should go and maybe spend 2 or 3 days in Singapore, and then you can fly in to Ho Chi Minh, or you can fly into Da Nang and then go down to Hoi An, or you can fly into Hanoi. That would be the way around to avoid the conflict in the Middle East.
In the Middle East. But you guys at the time flew Emirates.
We flew Emirates, yeah.
Okay, so those two options exist. Thank you for that. Bridget saying the best is in Hanoi City to get up really early to walk around Hoan Kim Lake. Locals of all ages are out doing exercise, dancing, badminton, walking, laugh therapy. It's like a different world, is Bridget's description. Thank you for that, adding to the list of things to experience. Martin, I mean, I hope we haven't just set the hordes loose on Vietnam with this conversation, because I'm also going to get there before it becomes the next overcrowded party. But it's been wonderful listening to you talk about the experience so authentically and with such breadth of experience, because you had the privilege of being there for so long. Thank you very, very much for joining us today, and I hope we don't lose you to Vietnam permanently.
Just remember, when you go there, you're from Nam Phi.
Nam Phi. Is that how you say South Africa?
That's South Africa, Nam Phi. And the other word you need to learn is Xin Chao, which is hello.
Xin Chao. How do you say goodbye?
Zimlo is excuse me, and come on, CUMON is thank you.
Come on, thank you.
So come on, Papa. Thank you.
Come on, Martin. Come on, Martin Myers. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Keep your messages coming. I'm happy to share a few more of them after the news if you've also had the experience of traveling in Vietnam. But right now, if you're ready for your next adventure, Standard Bank Travel makes booking, paying for and managing flights easier than ever, all straight from the Standard Bank banking app. Enjoy up to 40% off flights for friends and and family, plus complimentary travel insurance and lounge access when you book with your qualifying credit card. Download the Standard Bank app and book your next flight via Standard Bank Travel. Standard Bank is an authorised FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.